You're going to end up in a jail cell. I guarantee it.
Would you say, because in that case, it's not normal for someone to come from a cancer state to make 30, 100 million?
Enjoy the video and subscribe for more.
So I was accused, obviously, of the complete garbage charge of human trafficking via the Loverboy method. And what they're saying is, by being nice to people, I've convinced them to do some work. And I stole the money. And the funny thing about it is they never worked. I never took the money. But the fact that they're trying to say that being nice to a girl now is manipulation. So if you beat a girl, you go to jail. Yeah. If you grab a girl by her hair, you go to jail. If you say, excuse me, please, can you come over here? You go to jail. So you can't escape this insanity anymore. And they're doing it on purpose to remove any capability at all for you to be a man. Women have all the control. We live in a matriarchy. The law is always on their side. They can lie. They can make things up. They're out to destroy you as a man no matter what. They run the household because if you say anything to her, you're going to go to jail. If they divorces you, she takes all your stuff. Like, it's a matriarchy we live under, and it's very purposeful, and it's kind of scary. I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was saying, so your charges are you were nice to a girl and asked her to do TikTok and keep the money. I said, no, I didn't ask her to do anything. I was nice to a girl who had a TikTok account, and they're saying I stole the money from the TikTok account. They have no proof of this. And he said, bro, I know loads of guys who are nice to girls and buy them handbags. Every girl in Dubai is human trafficked. I was like, well, that's the exact point. Yeah. No one's not human trafficked now. So everyone's human trafficked. And the true objective of all of this insanity and the reason they attacked me, I don't know if you knew this, but I was arrested on the same day that Jeffrey Epstein had a huge break in his case.
Oh, really?
So yeah. Type in human trafficking and it's only Andrew Tate. It doesn't say anything about Jeffrey Epstein's case. The same people who were on Jeffrey Epstein's island are saying I'm dangerous and my ideas are dangerous and I'm a human trafficker because I have girls who I know who have TikTok accounts. Yeah. And they found messages between me and the girls when the girls said, I want to get famous on TikTok. Yeah. You're famous on TikTok. How do I get famous on TikTok? I said, post it this time, post it this time, post it this time. Human trafficking. The whole point of this insanity is that everybody is guilty all of the time. And I don't think most people at home watching this understand if you are a red-blooded male in the world today, you are guilty of crimes. And if they come and they get your phone and they look through it, you are guilty. The time you said to your wife, I'll be home soon, is dinner ready, is controlling behavior. The time you sold your phone without paying taxes. The time you recorded yourself driving, breaking the speed limit. The time they'll get your phone and they will wreck you. And by the time they put those 8 cases together, you hire a lawyer, you're on bail, you go to trial, and they waste 3 years of your life. They bankrupt you.
Yep.
And you're stuck in this legal quagmire of lawfare. And it's kind of interesting that most people don't seem to understand. When this happened to me, I kept saying on podcasts before it happened, they're going to arrest me. My second life, they're going to get me.
Yeah, you kept saying the three strikes.
3 strikes. I said, first they try and cancel you. If that fails, they put you in jail for a bullshit reason. If that fails, they kill you. And I said, they're going to arrest me. And I kept warning everyone. And then it came and people are like, why don't you just get a lawyer? And how stupid do you have to be to think that you just get a lawyer? It's a matrix attack. It's a clown world attack. The whole point is that everybody's guilty of everything all the time. And nobody who's been inside the legal system, if you haven't been through the quagmire of it yet, you don't understand exactly how guilty you are. I guarantee you, every single person watching this right now, if they get hold of your mobile phone and they get the password, they will find charges.
Yeah, they can build something against you.
Of course they can. Yeah. They can see the other phones you were in a vicinity with. You could be walking through the mall and you walk past a drug dealer at the wrong time. That's enough for them. They will get something and they will wreck you. And if you're not changing your phone once a month, well, then you're walking around with criminal charges in your pocket. And this is the reality of it. So if you ever get too large, if you ever say things they don't like, because your ability to speak freely is directly correlated with your insignificance. You're only allowed to speak freely if no one listens. If people listen, then you have to be a lot more careful with what you say. Then they come along, they get your phone, and they find any excuse they can to charge you. And what did they do with me? They found me giving timings to girls who have TikTok accounts saying, well, if you post it this time, you'll get more views. And they charged me with human trafficking. The people who were on Epstein's island then used a media machine. The people who were on Epstein's island used a media machine.
It literally happened.
3 times.
It happened recently as well with Epstein's island thing. There was a whole thing that came out about it, and I can't remember what it was, the article that they covered it up with, but literally anything just gets swiped under the rug.
The people who were on Epstein's island used the media machine to convince everyone at home that I'm a human trafficker because I said what time to post on TikTok to some friends who said they were not human trafficked. The girls themselves are saying we're not human trafficked. This is insane. Let him go. So it's a matrix attack, and you have to understand that you live under a system in which the government will pretend they protect you, but truthfully, the government is out for itself, and the government is aiming to get forever and endless control of your life. Every single government's objective is some form of communism where they control everything. They don't care about the prosperity. They don't care about making money. These things are kind of a illusion. Many people say, oh yeah, but the government wouldn't do that because they need people to have businesses. They need people to make money. They print the money. They make up the money. And they don't care if you starve because they'll always eat. If they cared about money, why was everyone locked in their house? Why did everyone's business get closed during COVID if they cared about money? No, they never cared about money. They don't care. What they care about is control. And not enough people go to sleep at night realizing that every day you wake up, the government makes new laws. Has the government ever taken a law away? When's the last time the government said, we have too many laws, give me the book, let's throw some of this trash away? No, every day there's new ones. And if you make new laws every single day, you're eventually heading towards slavery. That's the end goal of it, is slavery.
Yep.
And we're not far off slavery now. I think a lot of people don't realize that the idea of slavery is we're going to get somebody, force them to work, leave them in a house that we've given them and give them some food, and we're going to force them to work. But doing that is extremely difficult. It's actually not efficient because you have to force someone to do a job they don't want to do, which is very hard to do.
Yep.
You have to stop them running away. You need an army. You need a fence. It's very difficult. It's actually much easier to pay them a little bit of money, and they spend all that money on their house and their food, and they believe they have free will. And now they don't realize they're a slave anymore. Because if you're a slave, you get kidnapped and you get told to work and you get a house and food. If I say, oh, I don't have to kidnap you. Oh, here's a nice opportunity for you. Come do this job. It's an opportunity. And then you work and you spend all your money on a house and food. Now you think you're free and you're actually a slave.
You're still in it.
Of course. And the best prison on earth is going to be the one you don't realize you're in. That's the goal, is to keep the wool over everyone's eyes. Most people don't realize they're in a jail. They wake up at 7 a.m. and they go to a job and they work hard all day and they come home and they have no time for their family and they barely pay their bills and they barely afford to eat and they have no money left at the end of the month and they somehow think they're free. And they sit there and they watch the news and the news lies to them and they got vaccine in their arm and they can't fly anywhere because they can't afford it or if their boss will give them leave.
Yep.
And they somehow believe they're free. You're a slave.
They believe they're free when their boss signs annual leave. They're like, yeah, freedom. You ain't enough freedom.
It's absolutely. It's slave world. And it's kind of crazy because even when I was in jail, I was talking to Tristan and we were saying this. Most people on the outside are less free than us here in jail.
Yeah.
At least I can feed my family and feed my children. At least I can fly the people I love all around the world at random. It's kind of crazy. But all of these things that are done is to ensure that the controlling class and the elites have as much control over the populace as possible. That's the end goal of it all. And I don't think most people understand that.
I'm interested to know, what was it like for you to be without your kids? Because obviously last time we done a podcast, you didn't reveal you had kids.
Yeah.
But now that people know that you have kids and aware of it, what was it like for you to be without them for so long?
Yeah.
And have you ever been without them for so long on that scale before?
No, never. But I'm lucky they're relatively young. But I feel like jail is just part of life. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if there's a name for this theory. It might be called the high-low theory. I don't know if that's true. I might have just made that up off the top of my head. But people who are at the bottom rung of society and people who are at the absolute top rung of society live similar lives. And the people in the middle avoid certain things. I'll give you an example. The homeless people didn't get the vaccine. The billionaires didn't get the vaccine. The people in the middle got the vaccine.
Yep.
The homeless people are stuck in endless legal battles and going to jail and need a lawyer and getting arrested, etc. The people at the top are stuck in endless legal battles and going to jail and needing a lawyer and getting arrested. And somewhere in the middle, you can avoid these things. You can sit in the middle and go, oh, I'm so glad I don't go to jail. I'm just going to pay my mortgage and I'm just going to work really hard and I'm just going to be quiet. I'm not going to have an opinion and I'm going to listen to the BBC and I'm not going to post it on Facebook and I'm just going to sit there and be a good slave. But if you're on the top or the bottom, you're kind of stuck in the same scenarios. And if you get to a high echelon, the highest echelons of life, you're going to deal with this crap. You're going to go to jail. You're going to catch a case. If you make a bunch of money, you're going to catch a case. If you're at home right now and you're thinking, I want to become a millionaire, that's fine. But if you want to make 20, 30, 40 million dollars and you're from nothing, you're from a council estate like me, and you want to end up with, well, I have hundreds of millions of dollars, but let's say you want to make 30 mil. There is no way you're getting there without catching a case. The feds are going to jump on you. You're going to get tax evasion, money laundering. Some girl's going to want some money. You're going to end up in a jail cell. I guarantee it.
Would you say, because in that case, it's not normal for someone to come from a council estate to make 30, 100 million?
I think it's because there's the universal law there's a law of the universe, and it's absolutely universal. And there's some laws which are man-made, and there's some laws which are dictated by God himself that you can't avoid. And there is no light without dark. There is no light without dark. You're not going to be able to go from a Luton council estate to paying yourself $2 or $3 million a week without catching a case. You're going to end up caught, whether I ran my mouth or not. I sit here and tell the truth because I believe it's my duty, and I believe the reason I have such a large platform is so that I can inspire people to resist the slavery of the matrix. But you're always going to do these things. So if anyone is at home is actually truly ambitious and understands and want to make a whole bunch of money, that's great. But you have to be prepared for the good and the bad. It's actually asinine and awfully childish for people to want an exceptional life and think that exceptionalism is only the positive. People say, I don't want a normal life. I want a great life. Okay, you don't want a normal life. Well, guess what's not normal? Private jets with your Bugatti being flown over to Dubai waiting for you, and Romanian dungeons. They're both not normal scenarios. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
And if you truly want to be free or you want to feel like you're free, you're going to pay the price for that. So I think, like, especially as the world continues to spiral towards authoritarianism, especially as people begin to wake up and want to tell the truth, especially as they try to control all of us even harder with the economic mechanisms they have, if you're out here looking to make a bunch of money, you need to also prepare yourself for a case and prepare yourself for jail.
So would you say it's impossible or very, very unlikely for someone to have the Bugatti private jet lifestyle and not have the other side of things where Romanian dungeon?
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So you have to remove all the attack vectors. Let's say I wanted to get as rich as possible and I wanted to make sure no matter what, I didn't go to jail. Okay, that's fine. But then you're going to end up removing the joys of life because it's the joy of life that's the attack vector. It's actually funny. I said something the other day to my brother. I said, all the men I know just want to work. If you ask me what I want to do when I wake up, work. What am I doing on Sunday? Work. All I do is work. All the women I know just want to have fun. And fun is where the problems come. All the fun is the sin and the haramities and the garbage. Fun is danger, right? So it's the same. You have a nice Ferrari, you have a Bugatti, you want to drive it really fast, you're well known in your city, that's problems. You want to go out to the club and hang around with a bunch of girls, that's problems. Anything you do once you get rich, they're going to use against you. So you're saying, how do you get rich without ending up in trouble? Well, then what's the point in being rich if you're just going to sit in your house and behave? Like, what's the point in being rich if you're just going to sit in your house and lock the door and be scared of everything? True. If you're a rich person and you go out and you go to a nightclub or you go to a restaurant or you try and talk to a girl on Instagram, that's enough. That's a case. That's it. It's done. Yeah. That's done. You can do it when you're broke. When you're broke, you can go up to a chick and say, hey, you're beautiful. And she'll say, go away. When you're rich and you go up and say, excuse me, you're beautiful, she says, go away. And then she realizes who you were and how rich you were. And she'll change her mind. And she'll message you. And then if you ignore her, she'll say you sexually assaulted her. And now you got a police case. That's the world now. So you can't avoid these things. There's no light without dark. And I also think that it would be cowardice to say, I want to get as rich as possible and I want to make sure nothing bad happens to me. Listen, this is the universal law of how the world has always worked. If you're going to be a warlord, and you can talk about it financially, it's financial war, business is war. If you're going to be a warlord, you're going to go to war.
So what I will say is, though you did say, your children are young and they didn't really quite understand, I'm just going to go back to that point because though they may not understand, I haven't got kids, but I can imagine that if I did, I'd still be thinking, regardless, even if they're just born, I'd still be thinking, is everything going all right with them? Oh, yeah. Because you don't, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't have communication with the outside world apart from talking to your lawyer, right? Or?
Yeah, I had a couple phone calls, but not too many. And my primary problem in jail was making sure everyone else was taken care of. I wasn't worried about myself.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah, and this goes back to the point I was making earlier. See, a lot of people want to make money, and because they don't understand how the government operates, because they don't understand what the Matrix is trying to do, because they don't understand that they're guilty of everything all the time just because they're a man, because they don't understand that trying to become financially free is direct attack on the Matrix. They've convinced you that they want people to become financially free because it's good for the economy. That's garbage. No, they want you enslaved, all of you. You are attacking the Matrix in many forms. You need to prepare for jail. And things like my children, I was prepared in advance for jail. I kept saying they're going to send me. If I had not prepared properly, everyone, including myself, would be destitute. My family would be destitute. My children would have starved. I would be destitute. I've been arrested a year and a half ago. That my bank accounts were seized on the day of my arrest. I haven't had not a dollar since that day. And I pulled up an SF-90. So how did I do that? How did I do that? Well, I did that by thinking ahead. And you have to ask the average person at home. And I'll ask you now, please, as a professional, answer the following question. If they take your passport and they take all the bank accounts in your name, and they take all of your cryptocurrency accounts in your name, and they seize your house because your house is a mortgage, and they're going to find out what that is, and they're going to get a new piece of paper from a judge, and they're going to seize that. What do you have left? And where? And can you access it? Can you access it from jail? How do you move that money around? How do you pay for people? Where is it? People don't even think ahead. They save up some money and they put it in their NatWest and they're like, oh, I'm free. You're not free of anything. NatWest will take that off you. It takes a second, one phone call.
Yeah, the same way you said in the last podcast, if you really own a house, they could take that in a split second as well. Same for your money.
Of course, you don't own anything. Yeah. So then you have to sit and go, okay, how do I prepare for the ultimate level of matrix attack with my money? Well, you can put things in other people's name. That's one way. But then if they work out who those people are, they're going to take that too. So then you have to sit and realize, well, how do the elites do it? The elites don't own anything. Trust funds own things, companies own things, foreign entities own things, shell companies own things. So then you have to go deeper down the rabbit hole and realize that you need to start setting up these extremely elaborate corporate structures just to protect your car, because otherwise you're going to lose it. So most people at home, and the reason I say these things, most people at home don't realize how fragile they are. And you're very fragile if you're broke, but you're also very fragile if you're rich and you're not prepared for the matrix attack, because it's going to come. It's going to come for you.
Yeah.
And if you're not prepared for it, they're going to take everything you own and you're going to be destitute. Like I said, a year and 4 months, I haven't had access officially to $1. How am I supposed to live for a year and 4 months with no money, no food, no gas, no paying for my children, nothing?
Well, you tell me, how are you doing it?
Let me think of an excuse.
Because that is a very interesting question. And the thing that intrigues me as well there is the crypto, because everyone seems to believe...
They took everything off all the excuses.
Yeah, and everyone seems to believe that crypto is decentralized, government can't touch it. No one can touch it apart from you.
Yeah, so no. If you have a Binance account or any of these accounts, they'll find them and they'll take it all. So
let's just...
You have to prepare yourself for these things, and that's one thing I'm not going to say because I'm still currently on bail.
Yeah, of course.
You have to prepare yourself for these things, and it takes diligent work. There's so much work for you to do as a man. I don't know how people even. I barely sleep, and I never not work, and I never lay in. I'm never lazy, and I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. And when I say that, people say, "But work on what? I don't know what to work on, bro." You need 10 passports, you need 25 bank accounts, you need shell companies, you need a trust fund, you need to make some money, you then need to move that money away, you need multiple places to live, you need a place for your children to live, they need a trust fund, you have stuff to do.
Yep.
And people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's mind-boggling to me.